Today, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm gonna tiptoe out of the safe corner that is Let's Play styled videos and tiptoe into the other safe corner that is bashing something that a lot of people have already bashed before. Now, let's make something perfectly crystal clear. This does not mean that I am canceling Weegee plays or anything like that. It just means that I'd like to branch out my channel a little bit more and try my hand at some other new things. Who knows, maybe this video will be absolutely terrible and you'll never see another one like it. Or possibly, it'll do really well and I'll be motivated to make another one in the future. Regardless though, I feel like I've wasted enough time already, so let's just hop into our topic. Let's have a talk about one of the worst shows ever made. Let's talk about Sword Art Online. Sword Art Online, a light novel written by Riki Kawahara, I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, got an anime television adaptation series from A1 Pictures that began in the late 2012s. The year is 2022 and the Oculus Rift has proved itself to be a huge success. So much so that a new virtual reality gaming device called the Nerve Gear is being created for the ultimate immersion experience. The Nerve Gear is a helmet that stimulates the user's 5 senses via the brain, essentially putting the user into the world of the game. With this new technology comes the new hit game designed specifically for it, Sword Art Online, a virtual reality, massively multiplayer online role-playing game. Try saying that 5 times fast. Our main character, Kirito, a 14-year-old high school student, is one of the selected few to beta test the game before its release. Don't ask how the beta testers were chosen, the show doesn't really care enough to explain. Anyway, the release date of Sword Art Online comes and thousands of people hop into the game. 10,000 to be exact. Kirito logs into the game, meets some scrubby noob king named Klein, and basically spends the entire day teaching him how to play. Sunset comes and Klein says he's gonna log out for a while because he's hungry and ordered himself a pizza, which, by the way, doesn't make any sense because he's been in the game all day with no way to contact the outside world in which to order said pizza. I mean, he could have ordered it like 6 hours ago in advance, but I refuse to believe that any human being has that much hindsight. Pizza plot hole aside though, when Klein goes to log out, he sees that the option to leave the game isn't there. Kirito checks his HUD and also sees that his logout button is in fact missing. Just then, Kirito, Klein, and the other 9,998 players are teleported to the game's major city, where they find the game's creator, Akihiko Kayaba, probably pronouncing that terribly wrong as well, looming over them. He says that he's removed the logout button from the game, and the only way to leave is through clearing all 100 levels of Aincrad, the floating world thing that the game takes place in. Here's the big crazy twist though. Are you ready for this? It's gonna come off as a bit of a shocker. If you die in the game, you die for real. Upon death, the nerve gear you're wearing sends out some sort of electric shock thing, effectively turning your brain into a pile of mush. Kind of like what watching this show all the way through will do to you. Kayaba then makes everyone's in-game model look like their real-world counterparts, again, don't ask why, and then pieces out. Everyone starts freaking out. Klein says that Kirito looks cute.
Oi, Kirito yo. Ome, hontou wa angai kawaii kao shite yagaru na.
I don't know. Then leaves to go find his IRL friends who also bought the game. Why he didn't do this the moment he logged in, I'm not sure. And Kirito leaves to go power through the game all lone wolf style, thus beginning his journey. Get it? Got it? Good. Now, let's talk about why it's fucking trash. Easily one of the most glaring issues in the series is the protagonist, Kirito. He has 0 personality. Like, imagine Eren Yeager, but 10 times worse. It really is that bad. His entire character consists of, I am good at this video game, and that is literally it. This issue, though, is actually one of the reasons why Sword Art Online became one of the most popular animes ever created. Kirito is 110% wish fulfillment. He's an angsty lone wolf teen who's stupidly good at video games and gets bitches left, right, and center, which, to the 13-year-olds watching this show, makes him the biggest badass ever. Now, he does develop a tiny bit when we learn that he wants to get out of this world to be with his little sister again, but that gets thrown out of the window real quick as we see him, the strongest player in the entire game, continuously dick around in all of the low-level zones, making no effort at all to actually clear all 100 floors. Actually, I lied, that isn't completely true. In episode 2, Kirito joins a raid to take on a new floor's dungeon. We also learned that everyone apparently hates the beta testers for some reason, because they're like better at the game or something, but that's not too important. Anyway, it's in this episode that we learn just how OP Kirito really is, and just how brain dead retarded everybody else is. Like when the raid leader only has a tiny bit of health left, but flat out rejects taking a healing potion offered to him by Kirito. Spoilers, he dies. Kirito, seeing how terabad the rest of the community really is, decides that it'd be a good idea to just stick to himself. Now, listen, if you've ever played an MMO before, you'll know that this whole going solo thing is literally the worst idea imaginable. But for our perfect plot armor-clad hero, nothing is too big for him to take down by himself. There's even an episode where he hunts down some super rare, never-before-seen raid boss and solos him without a single problem. Try finding me any MMORPG where one player can solo a current content raid boss. I fucking dare you. So, as I said before, Kirito spends most of his time hanging out in the low-level zones of the game, meeting bitches and building his own personal harem. Let me go ahead and break down half of the first season for you. Kirito finds some sexy anime babe, shows them his power level, they fall in love with him, and then he leaves to go repeat the cycle again. This happens for like a straight 7 episodes in the first season, and good God is it hard to watch. Now, this may come off as a bit of a shocker, but surprise, surprise, none of the anime babes Kirito meets has a personality either. Their entire thing is just that they're in love with Kirito and how he's the best guy ever and blah blah blah, more useless nonsense. On an unrelated note, did I mention that this show has a lot of plot holes? Because this show has, like, a lot of plot holes. Too many to go over in detail without spoiling the entire show. So you know what? Let's just focus on the biggest plot issue that the show just doesn't have any answers for: the nerve gear. It doesn't make any sense. So, it's a helmet that uses some unknown method to take control over all of your senses. A, how the hell did such an insanely unsafe device make it to market? B, how did nobody think to slap a failsafe on this device? And C, most importantly, how in God's name does the helmet melt your brain if someone else tries to remove it? While in Sword Art Online, someone can't just come up to you and rip the nerve gear off of your head, or it'll send an electric shock to your brain, killing you instantly. But here's the thing, that's the sole purpose as to why EMPs were made, to shut off dangerous shit like this so it won't hurt anybody. The story's creator, Reki Kawahara, again probably butchering that pronunciation terribly, my apologies, even admitted in an interview that the nerve gear had a lot of plot issues, but he just couldn't come up with anything better at the time. If that doesn't scream awful writing, I don't know what does. But you know, that's how the entire show can be summed up. Awful writing. Hell, even the story doesn't know what it wants to be. So, try to follow along here. Season 1 is about escaping from the MMO, right? But then midway through it switches to like some love story, and then it like goes back to the escaping from the MMO thing. Then season 2 rolls around and it's about saving some girl, but with like creepy incest love plots and some weird-ass tentacle rape scenes and just crazy shit like that. And then the show does a complete 180 and turns into a first-person shooter with lightsabers and the stupidest-sounding antagonist ever, Death Gun. Seriously though, his name is fucking Death Gun. How do people think that this is a good show? I don't get it. But anyway though, the first-person shooting lightsaber action thing turns out to actually just be about some creepy rapist kid. There's a lot of rape that goes on in this show now that I think about it. It's kind of disturbing. Then the game goes back to being the MMO, but then it goes back to being like real life again, but then it goes back to being like the MMO, and it's just a jumbled mess of bad writing. All of it, the whole thing. Bad writing, through and through. So let's just go down the list real quick, shall we? We've got plot holes galore, terrible characters, awful world building, bad dialogue, forgettable songs, mediocre at times, voice acting, repetitive tropes. It's just generally creepy and it's overall unpleasant. So mind-numbingly terrible that you're just wishing for it to be over every second you're watching it. And because of that, I can honestly say Sword Art Online is one of the worst shows ever made. This is Weegee the God, don't watch this show, and thanks for watching. I will see you all next time.